I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in talk up their body, another one body, this is how it goes. I got some secrets I'm taking the gangster to stay on the toes, stay in your lane, I have to stay on the go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. We're glad to be back. We got a presentation lined up for you today. So we'll give everybody a few minutes to come over from the networking and get the ball rolling here. We are excited about all the opportunities that are abound for startups and the founders. And so we want to talk a little bit about that today. So for the folks out on Facebook, if this is your first time checking us out, we are Startup on the Blocks. We do networking every Thursday starting at 6 for an hour, and that way you get the chance to meet other founders and other people that are in the startup ecosystem. We also do a presentation or have some guests at 7. And that way you can learn some information and knowledge about being a startup founder, or just becoming aware of what's available in the ecosystem. I'm going to do a presentation tonight, so let's see, can I get my screen shared here? Let's see, I'm going to go with the window. Let's see. Alrighty, so been doing a lot of work in and just learning about the ecosystem and relationships, and trying to tie everything together to kind of help founders kind of understand, how to get to the point where they can get their startups funded. But it all starts with the relationships, and so got a chance to just kind of explore some of the things that hold Black and brown founders back, and I think a lot of it has to do with relationships. And so, like with the PPP loans, with COVID, a lot of the Black and brown founders didn't have relationships with the bank, so they couldn't get access to the funding. So that's kind of the background on why we want to do it. So my hypothesis here is there is a lot of programs out there, a lot of pitch events, a lot of accelerator programs, a lot of pre-accelerator programs, and ones that are offering money. But you have to be ready for those, and then a lot of times when people are selecting people for these different pitch competitions and programs, you have to be a known quantity. So you have to start developing relationships in the whole startup ecosystem, not just here in Pensacola or wherever you are. You have to start developing relationships all over Florida and all over the country if you want to kind of move forward with what you're doing. So let's get this presentation rolling here. First, let me, I'll go ahead and go off camera here and get this up and rolling. So next week, we're going to have Brian Wyatt Jr., and he's a marketing expert. He has a company over in Tallahassee, but he's got all his certification in HubSpot. And so if you've been struggling with figuring out how to market your startup, he'll be on next week to kind of give us some insight. And I think maybe the following week we may be able to get Takesha to come back on. And I'll mention her again because she was just in a pitch event last night, and some of the programs they're going to be talking about, she's a good example of these relationships and being able to take advantage of these opportunities. So just to give everybody a perspective, what we try to do here with Startup on the Blocks, we definitely try to make the ecosystem more inclusive. But we want to introduce people to the startup ecosystem because the startup ecosystem has a lot to offer. And so when you look at this diagram here, you see capital, access to capital is way up toward the top. But you have to, down at the bottom, you have to start becoming aware of the ecosystem and learning about it and learning the best practice. And then when you get an idea, you can start, taking advantage of the ecosystem. And so it's just a path you have to follow, if you want to get to the point where you can actually get funding for your startup venture. So these are some of the barriers, that hold any Black and brown founders from, moving forward with their ideas, their business ideas, and so we try to address a lot of those things here, with Startup on the Block. So when you look at this first one, this was based on a study that was done up in the Midwest, and basically it says access to management knowledge. So you have to know about how to run a business. You have to develop some experience and exposure to those things that are out there. So in the startup world, there are some proven methodologies, there are some best practices, and there's mentors and everybody to kind of get you the knowledge you need to move you forward. It's like anything. If you want to learn how to play golf, you don't instantly know how to play golf. If you want to learn how to sing, you don't instantly know how to. You have to kind of acquire that knowledge, and the way you acquire that knowledge and experience is connecting with people. Building relationships with people, mentors, and stuff to kind of move forward. Then it's access to markets and business connection. And so that's what networking is all about. So your local chambers, offer networking events where you can actually connect with other businesses and make find the partners, because a lot of times there are people already out there in certain markets and they have footholds in those markets, but if you partner with one of those companies, or you meet somebody and you build a relationship, then you also can have access to that. And so we always hear about the access, to capital. And so my thing is, I think you have to build relationships. You have to build relationship capital before you actually get access, for somebody to be willing to fund your business idea. Yeah. And so access to knowledge and information exchange. So it's the bottom line is, most of these things you see here, they're all about relationships. So if you're the only one that know about your idea, or if you're not entering pitch competitions, or you're not on these sites and building up a profile on these sites, nobody knows about you. And so you have to get yourself out there. You have to get started in making these connections. And so locally here, we do the Startup on the Block networking thing, but we also do the Pensacola network. And the reason why we do it is so give people the opportunity to connect and build relationships and make the connections. People call me or Robin to get connections to stuff, but the way we got the connection was through networking. And so that's the same way anybody gets connections. And so those connections are what determines your success. And so when you haven't, those of you who've been working on your startup ideas, but you haven't, been entering these pitch competitions or these accelerator programs, you're not making the connections that you need to move forward. You get the feedback from right where you are. People don't have a problem with where you are. You're the one that might have a problem with where you are, but most people don't. They just want to help you move forward to get to the next step. And so that's kind of what the idea is. So take advantage of the things that allow you to overcome these things. So there's a lot of knowledge out on the internet, and there's just so much ways to get this knowledge, and you just have to kind of apply yourself in order to kind of move forward with it. Yeah. So we've accumulated a lot of information and a lot of knowledge. So since last August 13th, we've had 42 events. And so within those events, we've shared a lot of knowledge, and most of it, a lot of it's on Facebook. But I will also provide some links in this presentation to some of the stuff. But also for those of you that are interested, I can also provide you access to the video library archives, that we have online as well. But if you notice, within our weekly events, this platform, it keeps track of the network meetings. When people network with each other, it just counts the number of interactions, and so it's not just our event, but like Hopin hosts a lot of events. There's other platforms that host event that give you a chance to connect, and so that's where you increase your connections, and offers you an opportunity to build relationships. And a lot of it's the relationships that we built, and the people that we met since we started the Startup on the Blocks. It's been tremendous, and to kind of help us grow. And so the pitch events, we've had a couple of pitch events, but there are a lot of pitch events on these virtual platforms, and so what I always say, if you want to learn how to pitch, watch and watch some pitches. They're on all the time, and so and then at the end of each pitch, the investors or the judges, they ask questions. So those are the same questions that you will get asked when you're doing a presentation, and so that's how you learn. And so you just have to what we want to do as you make progress within those of you that are in our cohort of portfolio companies, we want to connect you with these opportunities that are out there, and you'll understand this in a little bit, because so like when you apply for some of these accelerator programs, pre-accelerator programs, what'll happen is they want to know what other programs you've been in, because that gives you a little bit more credibility, and that's what that's all about. But if you never apply, your credibility score is not going to be good. So they know if you've been through a particular program, they know you learned something, and you do have some discipline about moving forward. And so you see me talking about this $4 billion, but it's a lot more than $4 billion. This is just an example of some of the corporations that have set aside funding for Black and Brown founders. And the challenge is you have to use the Lean Startup methodology and grow your startup to the point where people, when you apply for these programs at these different companies, and you can they can actually see where you are, how much progress you've actually made. And so that's what the deal is. And like I said, there's this list just goes on and on. And this is just some of the big dollar amounts, but there's so many companies like Amazon, PayPal, and all these companies are creating programs to support Black and Brown founders. It's pretty fantastic. So you hear me talk about applying for the programs, and I thought I would put some examples of some current opportunities, and this is just a small subset of some of the opportunities out there that any one of you founders actually can participate in. And so, like, for those of you at the earliest stage, I mean, you like 1 million cuts, you don't even have to you don't even have to have a presentation. You can talk and tell what you're doing, but it's best to have a presentation. So in Okaloosa County, their 1 million cups over there, they're having trouble with people applying to actually do a presentation about their startup, and they got a grant from Gulf Power to give you money. And so that's, to me, that's like almost unbelievable, that people are not participating in these programs. So currently, the application for G Alpha here in Pensacola is open, and so that's your doorway to the generator network. But that's also the foundation for your startup, where you literally learn how to validate whatever your idea is, and you literally, take some steps to move forward with what you're doing. So the next one, the Black Founders Exchange, that's a program. I mean, I believe it's like a week-long program, and it's in-house. But the funny thing about that program, and it's up in North Carolina, I believe, if you get in that program, you develop a connection to Google for Startups, and so you might see the people that do this Black Founders Exchange. They may end up being in Google for Startups, and so, like, for example, Didi from my task, and she was pitching last night in that Bronze Valley Accelerator. She participated in this Black Founders Exchange. She made connections that led to last year she getting in the Google for Startups to get this funding. This is $100K funding, that you don't have to give up any equity in your company. So if you get your work on your startup to get to some amount of traction, you have an opportunity to get into this program, and it's a recurring program. And so I can't emphasize enough the significance, of some of these programs. And there are plenty more programs out there that actually, that don't take equity, and there's plenty that do want a small amount of equity. And so these are programs. And so what I recommend on any of these programs is that you go ahead and apply, even if you're not ready, just to find out what the questions are. And so, the next time it comes around, you already know what the questions are, and you can actually be better prepared to answer them, but also connect with people who've actually been in the program and that understand what they're looking for, or even reach out to the people who are sponsoring the program and get some better insights on what's going on there. And so just this week, and I saw a commercial today as well, a Black female founder, she worked with Amazon to launch this Black Business Accelerator program. And so that's a simple program where you can actually get some funding. And so the pitch competitions tend to get a lot more applications, so you definitely need to be able to articulate your idea. And this is pretty neat, a $40,000 pitch competition. And like I've said in the past, like even the end of last year, for Black and Brown founders, they had a $2 million pitch competition. And it's by participating in these programs that you can get better prepared to further larger value pitch competitions. This last one I have here is it's actually one for nonprofits, and there are plenty of stuff out there for nonprofit. I included that in the weekly newsletter with the links in it. So don't hesitate to ask any questions during my presentation here. Just feel free to stop me and because what I'm trying, it's really important that we take advantage of some of this stuff that's out there to kind of to and actually improve our economic situation for ourselves, our families, and for our community. I want you to go out there and build your startup and win some competitions and go through some programs and and keep onboarding more customers. but it all starts with you, and that's really the key thing. It's that you have to realize the time is now, and no matter what your situation is, it's not going to stop you from spending a few minutes each day, especially the portfolio companies, to actually log into to Startup Rocket and answer some of the questions in there and keep moving closer and getting better prepared to apply for some of these pitch competitions. So this mindset. So if you see, it's a lot to think that people are organizations and companies are dishing out money to help you grow your startup. So the question is, why would Google offer you $100,000 to help you grow your startup? Ultimately they're trying to give back and support Black founders, but also they're hoping you build something on using their technology, and so they can have a longer term relationship with you. But you have to get this individual mindset set, and this link startup playbook. Sam Altman from Y Combinator, he did this talk to help you understand, the mindset that you have to have. And so you have to think differently, and then you have to learn these skills and best practices, and these skills and best practices will hold you back. But the beauty of the ecosystem, it lets you learn that stuff for free, and you just have to want to learn it. All of this is contained within the ecosystem, as a whole. And it's not just here in Pensacola. It's the state of Florida. The whole world. And my company, Cognitive Big Data System, I get bombarded from corporations that are holding accelerator programs, corporate accelerator programs, because they want you, companies like mine, to apply to solve some of the problems that they have, like Singapore Airlines. I get them from all over the world, and they want startups to actually do. So like if you got a educational ed tech startup, that people are looking, big corporations are looking to support what you're doing. No matter which industry you're in, there tends to be support directly, in that area. So we had Jen Spees on, who's an employee at Google, and she did this 6 lessons learned from her time in Silicon Valley. And so I put the link in there. So those of you that are on Hopin, the link to the presentation is in the stage chat. And then the ones of you out there on Facebook, I put the link in the comments on the Startup on the Blocks Facebook page. And so this so Jen, she did a great job on that presentation, and so that's some key insights. And just a couple of weeks ago, we had Tom, and he did the self-acceleration, because in his proposition there was that sometimes you can't get into those high-end accelerator programs, but you can do self-acceleration. So he goes through all the key things and the mindset that you have to have to move forward, with your idea. These are resources that are there for you. I know it's a lot to try to absorb the information, but it's well worth understanding what the mindset is, and then those skills and best practices. And because like you're on an adventure, and so you have to get in that adventure mindset, and you're doing something that's never been done before. So you have to get the right mindset. You're not going to know how to do everything. So and you just have to get excited about it, excited about the opportunity, to learn, and it's definitely an adventure. Yeah, I remember when I I got an opportunity to apply for a program in Poland, and it was interesting. So I said, I don't know anything about Poland, but I said I'm gonna go with my gut, and I went ahead and applied for it, and I got accepted to it. So you just never know. Is what I'm trying to say. You don't know what the future holds, and so you have to kind of go with get the right mindset to move forward. All righty. So and so the it's so I just want to kind of I'm doing a kind of a review to kind of help some of our new folks, to kind of understand that the this approach that's actually when you're trying to do a scalable startup,
Hey,
it's
Dad,
the right. Yes.
there is a couple questions that just popped up. One was what is a create action nonprofit?
Okay. That I'll go back to that slide.
Mhm.
Create action. So is that something from the slide? That's you when you get that download that PDF, just click the link and you'll see it's just an opportunity with Sony Corporation.
Yeah, and then I think that was the question for Terry for both of those.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, so that's why I put the link in there. And if you notice in that same link is in the newsletter that I sent out every week as well.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So startups are about value creation, and so when you have an idea, it's not worth anything. So you have to keep working on that idea. So like those of you that are participating in the and with the startup rocket, that's what you're doing. You're creating value as you go through those steps in that startup rocket. You're actually creating value. You're creating something that hasn't been done before, and so when you have an idea, that's exactly what it is. You're solving a problem that exists, and so the solution, is not there, and that's why you're doing working on a startup to actually create value. Yeah, and so and one of the main way is using this proven methodology, this lean startup methodology. And so this is kind of like when you're even when you're putting in an application for a pitch contest, or you're putting in an application for an accelerator program, you can almost bet that the question's going to be related to this lean canvas thing. And so you have to understand all these 9 things that are in this lean canvas, and it's okay to use the business model canvas as well, but the lean canvas, and there is I put the link to the Startup on the Blocks, the presentation when we went through this lean canvas. Uh, so also, so that's that second link on here, and then the John Guyton. I don't know if you all that saw his presentation, but he is a master pitcher. He knows how to pitch. He does that for a living now, teaching founders and teaching people how to do TED Talks. And so we had him on for almost a full hour, giving points on how to do it. But if you have to create a story, and that story includes some of the stuff that's in this in this lean canvas, and so I got this picture from leanstack.com, and so it has a pretty good explanation in there as well. And so also Lloyd Jr., he did a presentation on pitching, and he related the how doing a performance in an opera is like, getting, building your startup or pitching your startup, and how you have to understand everything about the startup, everything about the character you're playing in the opera, and be able to tell the story, but it just doesn't, um, you know, it's a lot of work. It's no free lunch. You literally have to like, even getting the perfect pitch down. You have to, do it enough that your facial muscles and your body remembers what to do, when to do it. It's a big deal, especially when you're pitching for $1 million, or like. And so you might say, when, so like a local startup here, did a presentation in New Orleans, and got either $8 or $12 million in funding, and just from them being able to articulate what product or service they had, and what problem they were solving. And so, but it all starts with here. So the next pitch application that you fill out, or accelerator program application that you fill out, just always look back and see how those questions relate to what's on this lean canvas. And so, if you need a partner or connections and to get in certain channels, you have to you leverage your mentors and find the connections you need. And so I think some of our founders had some success in connecting with some of the founders. They even participating in pitch competitions that they watched online. So that's the neat thing about watching pitch competition. You're learning about new stuff, and you're seeing the people who are out there pitching and winning, or are trying to win. And there's definitely no shortage of pitch competitions there. So another thing about these accelerator programs and these, getting funded, getting in these pitch competitions, you have to be able to articulate where you are, within your startup. What have you validated? How far along the lines you made. And so this is a value creation chart that shows you, if you work on your startup little by little, you'll keep creating value, and as you create value, your opportunity to get money increases. And that's a really powerful thing. You can start with zero and actually create value. And so the one example, like this platform we're using now, Hopin, when they launched February a year ago, I think they raised $7 million shortly after that. And then earlier this year, they raised $400 million. And so they created value, and they made their way up this chart. And so you see there's a lot of steps to get to the point where you're getting angel investment and venture capital. And so a lot of people, they have an idea, but if you don't do this stuff down here at these early levels, you can think you're up here at these higher levels and act like you are, but the investors, the people who are evaluating the pitch applications, they see right through that. Yeah, because they're going to ask you questions, and if you can't answer the question, it's going to be obvious. I've listened to a lot of people come tell me about their ideas, and I want to know, where you are and what, where you're at, and so and you have to learn how to communicate that, and so people can know how they best can help you, give you the connection you need to move further. And so the idea, a lot of the larger money things, they want you to, be at the point where you're starting to onboard customers a little bit, but there's also programs to help you get to keep growing your, working on your towards your MVP. So take advantage of those and just and when you're ready, that the money will be out there. Yeah. So and this is, we're talking about leveraging the ecosystem, no matter what stage you're at, and so a lot of times when you can't, let's say you can't get money, in those early stages, but you can actually get free resources, free cloud service to build your application, and free marketing tools to market your idea. It's on and on. So and those things equate to dollars, moving forward. But what we need your all's help on is there's other people out there that are not aware of these opportunities, and people pretend they're aware of it, but I don't think they really know the significance of this idea that all these organizations, these programs, and all these funds are there, but you have to, get that mindset and follow that lean startup methodology to kind of move forward. There's no shortage of information for any of these stages that you might be in with your startup, and because there are literally programs and information out there to help you, and that's why I asked you what stage you are. So we and like even the link in the newsletter we sent out, it has a canvas that points out all the like over 700 and some resources, and they're broken out by which phase your startup is in. We like Start from the Blocks. We're we're trying to introduce people to the ecosystem. We're trying to help people with the ideas, figure out how to go through the lean startup methodology and create their concepts and their MVP and to move forward. But you got to get your mind right to get ready to move forward. So this is a slightly older chart, but there's a lot of resources here in our area. But just imagine, if you got if you're at an idea stage, you don't just have to rely on the resources here. We're all connected through the internet. If Miami's got some resources, use them. And it's just a matter of getting connected and building these relationships. So you have to leverage. There was, now that I think about it, there was one study I was looking at, and it was about how people get information. And it basically said people of color like to be told information, where white people, they receive the majority of the information through email. The information is there. So like for me, I sign up for newsletters, and I sign all the places that have programs for founders. I get on their email list, so when they announce something, it comes to my inbox. And so you have to get connected, because the help you need is out there, it's out there by gender, it's out there by race, it's out there by whatever vertical your startup is in. it's out there. It's just out there in so many ways. It's just unbelievable. And there's more than one resources for yeah. It's just really unbelievable. And so the deal is at the top of this thing, you have ideas, and then you do all this ideation and try to come up with some concepts. But if when you do the experiments, if your concept doesn't work like you should, then you just start over, go back through the idea stage, and until you get it right. And then once you get your concept validated, then you start building MVP. Most people want to start building the MVP as soon as they get the idea. You're wasting your money. It's basically what the deal is. So you have to validate before you go to the next stage. Yeah, you have to validate. And that's how you get to the next stage. Validate that you've done everything at the stage before, and that's what the when you're applying for a pitch competition, that's going to come out in your application. If you're applying for accelerator program, that's going to come out in your application, and so that's what the deal is. So like here locally, that I want to mention it again, the G Alpha program. Understand they could have as many as 20 people in that program. So if you got an idea, the bar is set about as low as possible for you to actually get in that program. But the neat thing is you spend those 4 weeks evaluating and validating your idea. In 1 month, you actually created some value, and that's what the idea about these programs are. And so we tell people to go to the enroll in the virtual startupschool.org, because it's going to clear up questions, and it's going to have you doing the things to create value. Taking your idea all the way up to a minimal viable product. These resources are there. They are free, and for people to take advantage of. We don't want people to miss out just because they're not aware of it, and we want to take any excuse away that you might have, but you have to engage to understand that how to get the help you need to actually move forward. This next slide, it kind of illustrates. This is the slide from St. Louis. I like to show it because it gives you an idea of how the ecosystem is connected, and so when you think about the ecosystem, everybody wants to get funding, over the green dot, and then the acceleration, Tom did the self-acceleration, but then there's also acceleration through pre-accelerator programs and accelerator program. There's corporate acceleration program. There's ed tech acceleration program. It's just so many different types of programs. 5G programs, or it's social innovation programs. It just goes on and on and on and on. And if you're doing something to make a difference in the world, there's programs out there to help you move forward. And then the community resources, that's you want to be aware of all the community resources that are around you. And if a resource is not here available locally, see where it is in the next town or the next state. And then the facilities, we had Karen on from the Getty IoT, and they have facilities over there for people who are doing IoT related stuff. And over in Panama City, the tech farms, they're more into hardware, type idea stuff. And so so there are resources, and we have if you need to build prototypes, we have the C3D lab right here in Pensacola. So we've got a whole bunch of 3D printing resources that are available for companies and startups as well. And so the real reason why I like this chart, it's the chart before, it kind of gives you the steps out of the path, and depending on which stage you are, you can actually know where to go to get that resource. And then this particular chart, it actually tells you the elements of the ecosystem. But what it also tells you, so like this I-10, it's a nonprofit that teaches the best practices for building a startup. But if you notice, it's connected to most things here. So if you apply for accelerator program and this I-10 nonprofit, they can validate that you did your best practices and increasing your chances of getting in accelerator program. Or if you're applying for a pitch competition to get some funding, and so people in these different buckets, they talk to each other. And so you have to increase your awareness. And so the pitch competitions that my company won, it was because of relationships that people, I was a known quantity. If you're keeping your startup a secret, you basically, you're killing your startup. You're literally killing your startup, because the more people know about what you're doing, the more they can vouch for you to get the funding you need, or to get in the program, the accelerator program that you need, or refer you to a resource, that you can use to move the needle forward. And that's what this relationships are. So when you keep trying to work on your startup to get it at a certain point before you start applying, you're basically keeping your startup a secret. And so you have to really become a known quantity in the ecosystem. And that's why you go to like the startup, which one it is, the Spark XYZ to build up your profile, or you go to f6s.com to build up your profile. So, and you get in these different databases, and the people, when they're looking for companies that to be in their program, they see your profiles there. But if you're keeping what you're doing a secret, and you're not gonna, and so it's better to have the opportunities come to you and you not have to go looking for them. But and so like those of you that's participated in our Startup on the Blocks thing, you have an opportunity to we can vouch for you when you're going for a program. If they call me or they call somebody about your startup, I can say, well, I know this person is working hard, and that will carry some weight, on you getting in the program or not. And so like, and the people you actually meet through the network and all these different things. So like Didi, for example, she's been in several of these accelerator programs. She's a Black female. She's a mother. She's got children. She's a wife, and she's still making it happen. And so like my high school basketball coach told me, he said, "There's no excuse. So you can keep making excuses, but that's not going to move you in the direction you need to go." And so, but yeah, so like just by, and I told you my story. You get in one program, you get referred to another program. You participate in the pitch competition, and the people that heard your pitch, they get calls. Any company that's a startup that's in this lane, and they say, well, yeah, they just pitched over here the other day. Yeah, that's a good one, and that's the way it works. But if you don't ever participate, you're dead in the water. Everything comes from participating, not just working in a silo trying to move forward. So, and the way we try to tie all this stuff together is we want to get you connected to meet people, but just don't depend on our networking thing. Go, go to networking events, do virtual networking events. I met a lady last Friday on the Pensacola network thing, doing the networking, and she went to school here, but now she lives in Jacksonville, and she saw that we were doing a networking event, and she she basically told me, she said, well, I discovered hopping last year, and I've been giving presentations all over the world, and I'm making money, and I'm connecting with people all over the world. You can't just stay in your own silo and expect to actually move forward. And so that's why we do the networking, to give people opportunity to connect. So, connect with other founders, developers to help you with your building MVP, mentors, and all kind of resources to kind of help you move forward. Yeah, and learning these best practices, and and just trying to do the right stuff to kind of move forward. Yeah, and so and we'll still going to continue to do our pitch competitions to kind of help you get off the ground running, but just don't depend on that, because we're just small potatoes compared to these other other pitch competitions, and so we're trying to grow our nonprofit so we can provide more resources to startups, and so our idea is to connect you with mentors. If you need some project management and lean time, lean startup methodology stuff, we offer that, and we use this startup rocket so you can validate, each stage you're at, and to get to the next stage, profile billing on XYZ. We try to provide training, but the Y Combinator with the startup school, they've been doing it so long, so that's definitely the way to go. Yeah, and so we're growing our AI stuff, and so we did a presentation on that last week as well. And so every Saturday you can stop by the Kukua Institute and do the office hours, or if you just want to come over and work on your startup, just to be around other founders, feel free to do that. And we're going to continue to grow, to expand our capabilities to support startups and talent. The latest thing we're working on is getting our startups connected with these apprenticeship programs. So there are programmer apprenticeships out there, so you can literally hire a programmer as an apprentice, and we will work with your programmer to teach them all the AI stuff to help them build your product or service, and try to help them get access to the tools that they need to build your MVP. And if you know of any organizations or companies that can help us with what we're doing, we would definitely appreciate it. And we appreciate the sponsors, that are out there that's been supporting us in the past. Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunities to move your startup forward, and we're here to help you in any way we can to kind of help you move forward. So I'll take this last few minutes to answer any questions, and feel free to I'm totally open to anything, because there's opportunities out there, and we don't want to just let them just go by. Yeah, and I see Jessica was in the audience a little bit ago. She and John participated in the G Beta program, so definitely connect with them to learn from that. And so right. So Lloyd Jr., you don't see anything out there on Facebook? So we'll get ready to wind it down here. So you think no more questions out there?
I don't see any questions on Facebook or on Hopin. Terry's question was really great at the toward the middle of the presentation, but I
Yeah.
encourage you, if you all have questions, to feel free to let us know for sure. Any way we can help. That's why Startup on the Blocks is here, to help founders and future founders find those resources and really get into the startup ecosystem mindset. I think that's really important, to get in the mindset that it's just not about you and your idea. It's also about your community and what you can bring to the community as well.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah, and so you're, yeah. So we'll get ready for our marketing presentation next week, and then we'll Dee Dee said she'll be able to come on sometime this month and share her experiences about the Bronx Valley Accelerator, which I believe was virtual, and then they did a pitch in person last night. And so, all righty, so we're all excited. We want to keep moving forward, and connecting you with the resources that you need to be successful, and help us round up some other people with ideas. We don't care what stage they're at, how green they are. We want to help them move past, that idea stage, and get their idea validated, and start making some progress to take advantage of some of these resources and funding that are out there. So let's get prepared. Let's do it. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks, Lord Jr.
No problem.
We'll see everybody next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.